Good evening, everyone. I'm here with the one, the only Usama Dakdok. In fact, maybe I need to change your name to. I am too few Lloyds, and you are going to be not enough Usamas. What do you think, Usama?
How about Usama Daffy Duck? Not the Daffy Duck you see on TV, the other Daffy Duck.
Usama Daffy Duck.
Yeah,
How
that's my nickname, Daffy
how about
Duck.
Usama Darkwing Duck? I am the terror that flaps in the night.
You know what? I think I like it. I don't know what it means, but I like it. I hope it's not. Does it? Is it a bad word?
No, it's not. It's Usama Darkwing Duck.
Duck like the Daffy Duck with
Not
Duff.
like that. No, no, no. The terror that flaps in the night.
Ooh, I like it. You know what? I'm not gonna even share it with my wife in case she didn't like it. I like it. It's over. I got it.
All right. Yeah. So, yeah. So people don't realize. I think that the reason I use the name Too Few Lloyds is because because someone else was giving me grief one time, and they used the name Too Many Marys. Well, there are too many Marys. Well, but there's too few Lloyds, and not enough Usamas, right?
Too many duck duck. No, too few duck duck.
Too
Yeah.
few
Okay.
Dakdoks.
You know
Yeah.
what?
Well, so we're here to talk about the Quran, which is the gift that
You
keeps
hate to
on
talk about it?
giving. Sorry.
If you hate to talk about it, why are you talking about it?
It it drives me insane how
Anyway,
anybody can take
yeah.
that book seriously. I don't understand. It's so obviously just
I,
intellectual garbage.
yeah, let me put it this way. First of all, hello, brother Lloyd. Greetings to you and all our wonderful audience. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever you are, wherever you're at. Anyway, here's the deal. I always say, you have to be intelligent, not just smart, but intelligent to do to make a counterfeit for say $100 bill. I'm not asking people to make $100 bill or even a dollar bill, but if you're gonna make a counterfeit to say a dollar bill, you have to be intelligent and not to be Mohammedans. Because Mohammedan is so dumb. It is if somebody will hold a dollar bill made by Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, for sure, people will laugh at you and you'll not even arrest you for a counterfeit because it's obvious you are mentally ill, that there is no reason to arrest you, put you in jail, find you crazy, put you in hospital, mental hospital. That's too much money, that's too much work. So what I'm saying is the $100 bill, there's a shape for the $100 bill. You have to
Mhm.
keep it the same size. You cannot change it to a square. A square dollar bill, I guarantee you, people think, woohoo, you're crazy. Okay, you lost it. Or if you like grandpa picture, you cannot put grandpa picture. It has to be Washington. See, everybody in the world know that it is Washington picture. It is on the dollar bill. It has to be the same color. You cannot make it a purple or a dark blue or orange color. If obviously these are what I call dumb counterfeit. Believe it or not, when I opened that Quran here,
If we put the picture of Emperor Trump on the dollar bill, will the dollar bill then become orange?
you'd be surprised. And if you put Donald Trump, it will be still a good dollar bill. I guarantee you, it will be
But
still
an
good.
orange dollar bill
As a matter of
with
fact,
few.
if you, yeah, his orange color guy, trust me, if you put Donald Trump in a dollar bill, it will raise the price to maybe 50, maybe 100 for the same dollar bill. People would pay $50 for it. I guarantee you. But anyway, but when you study that Quran here, as we're going to see in the next chapter, as we already did 5 chapters, if you study the book here, you find it a comedy. It is the square dollar with grandma picture on it or somebody else, but not close to that which is written in that book, the Bible. I mean, we're going to be talking about Abraham, Brother Lloyd, and I cannot help it but to laugh. Every time I read the Quran, I laugh. I laugh about the ignorancy of Allah, the full shortcoming of Muhammad, and the stupidity of Jibril who got that messed up message to Muhammad,
British.
and
Angel British.
Yeah, well, that's a good name. Or even the Muslims who believe in it. And I know why Muslims believe in it. I know why Muslims believe in it. Because they never saw the real story.
Right.
Let me this way. If I go to some village where I grew up in Egypt, in Upper Egypt, and I take $1 from Disney, you know what is the dollar from Disney? It has a Mickey Mouse picture in it. It's $1 you can use in Disney anywhere, anytime. If you got 10 of them, you get a hamburger. Now you can't get a hamburger for 10. You have to have at least 20 of it to get a hamburger. For 10 of them, you can get a bottle of water because Disney is expensive. But it's $1 used by Disney inside Disney. If I take that Disney dollar, and I'll go to Upper Egypt, to some of the village, and I give it to people and look at it, they will believe it is a US dollar. Especially, it has #1 in the corner and Mickey Mouse in the middle. It does not make any difference if they don't know the difference between Mickey Mouse dollar, Disney World dollar, or USA dollar. Imagine that with me. The problem with our Muslim friends who believe in that Quran is because they never saw the real Bible teaching about anything in that Quran. Just remember that parable here, which I shared with you, that it is Mickey Mouse dollar. It is Disney dollar compared to real dollar. If you never study or know anything about the real dollar, and all what you learn all your life, that the Bible is corrupted, the Bible has been changed, the Bible is this, and the Bible is that, and we got the truth in the Quran. Well, let's see. Let's see together.
I was doing some digging over the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And it's long established for centuries now that the Bible is used, and I mentioned this before, for archaeology. The Bible is used to find places and also things, but also it is used to identify what has been found. Whereas when you look at what is the Quran been used for in terms of archaeology, nothing. Literally nothing. It is purely an article of faith. That's something you believe in, but there is literally nothing in a historical capacity or an archaeological capacity, no evidence that actually affirms it. Nothing. Whereas the Bible is actually used by professors to go find things and identify things. It has real attachment to real things in the world, and the Quran, zero. And I mean, this already disqualifies the Quran as a piece of fiction.
Sure. I shared with you when he said that in our last program, I believe, that my son have a new Bible with a new app come with the Bible. And all what you need to do is take a picture of the beige in the top of the Bible. Next to the numbers, they have like a small sign, and it will take you to the app. And on the app, they will show you where that story is taking place on the map. So if we're studying about Abraham, if we study about Abraham today, as we're going to do, and you go to Genesis and you start reading about that man, Abraham, and he says the word Haran, Ur al-Kildaniyin, or Canaan, it would take you on the map from that number on top of the page and show you where we're talking about. Can you do that with any passage in the Quran? Just the whole book?
Right.
Good luck.
I mean, the Quran can't even tell you where Mecca is. I mean, you'll have to assume it's where it is. But it gives you no...
It's true. We do not know. We do not know anything about Mecca. I see Becca, Be, Kaf, He, Becca, not Mecca, Mim, Kaf, He. Two different words. I do not see Mecca anywhere in the Quran. As a matter of fact, archaeologically, we know for sure Mecca did not exist in Muhammad days to be that great city. There may be a small, tiny village with 10 people lives there. I'm not sure about that.
Are you sure it's Becca and not Pekka? Because maybe Becca is where Pepsi comes from. And it's actually Pekka because that's where Pepsi comes from.
The problem is talking to a guy does not know how to say Becca. We say Becca. Like I eat popcorn and I drink Pepsi every day. Pepsi, Becca.
See, so if it's maybe the Quran. What if the Quran was written by an Egyptian and he meant Pekka?
Oh my word! You never know. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. So Abraham, my dear brother Lloyd, is mentioned in the Quran 55 times. I mean, That's a lots of times for that small book. 6,000 pages, 55 times. And in these 55 times, if you add them all together and study them back and forth, and read the fabrication given by so-called Muslim scholars about these 55 verses, guess how much you learn about Abraham?
Nothing.
Actually,
Here's
it's a little
actually a
bit
map.
close to nothing. It is zero. I don't know. Zero is
This is
nothing.
actually, as you were saying, this is actually a map of Palm Sunday to Easter of all the locations that we know. And this is from Jerusalem, Palm Sunday to Easter. And we can see here all of these locations are marked. And it tells us arrival in Bethany. And this is all mappable. You can map all of these locations, where Jesus went, where the apostles were, where events happened. This can all be specifically tied to a location.
Sure.
All of this exists.
In my Dr. Ortiz class when I was in seminary, in the master site at New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary, we got two maps for Israel: old map and new map. Old map, majority of the names are the same, but so many of these cities or countries, not cities, cities, yeah, so many cities have changed names. And amazingly, in my test, he gave me a white page, and he asked me to put the major cities on it. Imagine, that is one of the hardest tests, because it's a white page. You draw on it the map of Israel. You put the Sea of Galilee. You drop down to the Jordan River. You end it with the Red Sea. And now you put the cities in the east and the west side of the Jordan River. Trust me, if you give the test to any Muslim about anything about that book here, the Quran, what are they going to put in it? I mean, what cities do we have in the Quran to put into the map of Saudi Arabia, for example? Or for you're going to say two dots, Mecca and Medina, 210 miles apart. Besides that, you have nothing. And from the Quran, you will never find neither Mecca or Medina. So I do not know. I mean, what kind of geography we have in Islam? In the Christian Bible, you talk about old map, new map, because some cities change their names. So Cairo used to be Memphis, for example. Talk about even away from the Bible. We have a country is called Egypt. Cairo used to be Memphis, and they changed the name to Al-Qahira, Cairo. So you see, I know the two names of that big city, huge city of Egypt. Can you do that with the Quran? Can you do that with Saudi Arabia? Well, it's kind of impossible. You can't. If you don't have info in the computer, like let me pick up my phone. Call Mr. John Smith, and I don't have John Smith on my phone. Guess what's the answer? You have no record of John Smith. You need to add information about John Smith. That is a problem we have with the Quran. There's no information there. So 55 times. God help us.
And they'll claim Makuraba for Mecca, but Makuraba has actually been located, and it's in Yemen. The location of Makuraba has been located exactly. It's actually in Yemen. It is not in Saudi Arabia.
Let me put it this way. Muhammad did not mention any cities. And when he mentioned cities, they're wrong cities. They're wrong places. For example, in the Quran, Noah's Ark, which we'll be talking, we talked about Noah, I believe already, yeah. Noah's Ark rested on Mount Judy. Mount Judy is in Iraq. But in the Bible, he rested on Mount Ararat, and that is in Turkey. Do you know the difference between Iraq and Turkey? They're a few hundred miles.
On the map, it's only at 2 inches. I mean, so they were wrong by what, 2 or 3 inches?
If you make it a map of the Earth 1 inch, it will be less than a quarter of an inch. I understand that, but depend the size of the map, brother. The size of the map determines the distance between countries. But besides that, Allahu Akbar, mashallah, mashallah. Right. Are you ready to open the book and read with me?
Yes. So we're going to talk about the story of Abraham, Lot, Ishmael, and Isaac.
That's why that chapter is a little bit big, because it's not just Abraham. It's Abraham and Lot. It's Abraham and Ishmael. It's Abraham and Isaac. And by the way, listen carefully. We will never know too much about Lot. We'll never know too much about Ishmael. And we'll never know too much about Isaac. And the story, sadly, we will not know too much about Abraham. So here you go. You mixed 4 people together: Abraham, Ishmael, Lot, and Isaac. And good luck. And I can ask a few hundred questions between. And the answer is only Allah knows. Only Allah knows. So go for it. Go for it,
Oh,
man.
it's that bad again. All right. Abraham is considered by Muslims to be a great prophet. According to the Quran, Abraham was neither a Jew nor a Christian. He was Hanifa, a meaningless word, but Muslim scholars claim it means a Muslim, as written in Quran 3:67. Abraham was not a Jew, nor a Nasranian, a Christian, but was Hanifan, a Muslim, which is interesting because he came from Haran. He was in Haran,
Mhm.
and the religion, even according to the ancient Jewish writings, he was a moon worshipper. So if they, and Muslims claim in the Sirah to return to the religion of Abraham before he turned to Yahweh, which means that he would have been a Sabi, which is a moon worshipper, and that's even in the Jewish texts. And the
Yeah,
Muslims claim that they are following the original religion of Abraham, which means he was a Sabi, and Muhammad is called a Sabi, which is a pagan moon worshipper.
sure, sure. I concur about that. But what is more important, I mean, it's also important about that propaganda is the movement in America is the Abrahamic faith, plural. The three branches of Abraham, the union between the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims, Abrahamic faiths. And I'm sorry, I don't know where this garbage come up with this propaganda, because as we're going to see in the Quran, obviously Abraham could not be a Christian, could not be a Jew, because Judaism come after him and Christianity came after him, but he's a Muslim, even though Islam came after Judaism and Christianity. It's like, hello, anybody there? He's not a Christian because Christianity was after Abraham. He was not a Jew because Judaism came after Abraham. But at the same time, he's a Muslim, even though Muhammad came after Judaism and Christianity. And by the way, Muhammad, Abraham, was never a Jew nor a Christian, but somehow in America, they made him the father of the Jews and the Christians, the Muslims, the three branches of the Abrahamic tree.
He was most explicitly the first Jew. Himiti says, Lord, it's done. My wife is no longer Muslim. So his wife has now become Christian. So well done, and glad to hear that. That is really, really good news.
Praise God. The more we know about Islam, the more we have to say goodbye. We have to. You have no choice. But
Right.
if you don't know too much about Islam, you can be Muslim the rest of your life. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. All right, move on, brother.
Abraham was not of the polytheists. In Quran 2:132, Abraham tells his son and Jacob to die as Muslims. True story. And Abraham advised by it his sons and Jacob, O my son, surely Allah has chosen the religion for you, so do not die except you are Muslims. And how do we know? Because the Quran says so.
Indeed.
So the
It must
Quran
be.
says it, therefore the Quran is true. And we know it's true because it's in the Quran.
Secular reasoning. Yeah.
And he continued in Quran 2:133. Or were you witnesses when death came to Jacob, when he said to his sons, what will you serve after me? And they said, we will serve your God and the God of your fathers, Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac. So even before Abraham, there were Muslims?
Sure. But you notice here, notice the dam of Allah and Muhammad and Jibreel. We worship the God of your fathers. Who is of names of his fathers? Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac. Literally, Ishmael was the genealogy. I mean, if I would say Jacob, son of Isaac, yes. Son of Ishmael, no. Jacob, Ishmael is his uncle. Is not his grandfather. Son of Abraham. You see the foolishness here? They made Abraham the father of Ishmael, and the Ishmael is the father of Isaac, and Isaac is the father of Jacob. When in reality, Ishmael and Isaac are brothers. So how can he squeeze Ishmael in the genealogy of Jacob as one of the fathers? He's not. He's an uncle.
Is they fixing everything that came before? I mean, they can't prove it because there's no records that support them, but it's in the Quran, so it's true, and it's true because it's in the Quran.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand the common nonsense Islamic. If it is in the Quran, it's true. But any person with some logic knows that Abraham had two sons. As a matter of fact, he had many sons. Ishmael and Isaac is the two figures we know. But he had also lots of sons from Keturah. Genesis 25. So to tell me that we worship the God of your fathers, and you mention Ishmael as one of the fathers of Jacob, that is a comedy. That is a comedy. It's supposed to be your fathers, Isaac and Abraham. End of story. Ishmael should never be mentioned there because he's not a father. He's an uncle.
I mean, it's incredible that they're so obviously wrong and in conflict with all known written records, all known history, all known previous tradition, and yet somehow we're supposed to take this seriously.
But if you study the Quran, you say that Allah blessed Abraham with Ishmael and Isaac. You think from the way the Quran is written that literally Ishmael have a son after him. His name is Isaac.
So maybe, that, I don't know, Muslims will make excuses about this, obviously.
It is a mess. Oh, trust me. If you want an answer about every error in the Quran, I can write you books to give you clear answers. It will make my answers even greater than the Quran. But it's all fairy tale. It's not true.
Scholars point out these obvious mistakes, these clear errors.
No, it's not errors. Maybe the error in your head because you're critiquing the Quran. You cannot study the Quran to critique the Quran, to find any error in the Quran, to question the Quran. If you do that, you become an infidel. So would you like to be an infidel?
I'm starting to think it's a good idea.
Not for those who love their shahada. Move on. Move on. I know you're trying to come up with a good answer. I look at your face like, oh, Lloyd is lost, my friend. Lloyd is out of words. Let's move on with the rest of the story.
It's obviously wrong. At some point you go, this is a mistake. Allah's been making errors here. Someone's making boo-boos on a massive scale.
Yeah, I know.
So he says, one God, and to him we are Muslims. Yes, everybody's a Muslim. Ibn Kathir stated that Muhammad said, we are the group of prophets. We the group of prophets are paternally one religion. Okay. He also stated Islam is the religion of the prophets as a whole. Fine. The belief that Abraham was neither Jew nor Christian but Hanifan, a Muslim, was also repeated in the Quran multiple times, from Quran 2 all the way to Quran 140, Quran 67, 68, 84, 95, 97, Quran 4, 6, 16, 22, 78, and 29.
Yep.
So we need to talk about four men who the Muslims call prophets: Abraham, Lot, or Lut, Ishmael, and Isaac. And the stories are intertwined, so we will combine them together. Firstly, Abraham and his family. So the story of Abraham, his family, and his people is repeated throughout the Quran, sometimes in the same words and sometimes with a few words changed and a little bit of extra information.
And here's my comment, Brother Lloyd, about that. I believe when the story is repeated is because Muhammad retold the story to some other people 4, 5, 10 years later, and he could not remember what he said earlier. And since the story written in two different ways was told twice or thrice or 10 times, that's why you see the story repeated in the Quran. In many of the stories of the Quran, which is repeated, there is no reason to have it a second time, except that Muhammad retold the story in wrong words. That is in my personal, honest, humble opinion.
I won't disagree. And sometimes the action of one story contradicts another.
And that's a problem. If there's different, I can say that. If there's different saying the story between one chapter and another, and there's no contradiction, it's okay. I mean, I will go, it's okay. But the problem is when he contradicts himself.
Right. So we have to wonder, did Abraham say this or that? The name Abraham or the family of Abraham is written throughout the Quran 69 times and 63 verses, from Quran 2 going to Quran 87. So a whole bunch of verses, and sometimes only his name is mentioned, while some of these verses tell just part of the story. In his book, Ibn Kathir wrote that Abraham was Ibn Tasar, Ibn Nahor, Ibn Sarak, Ibn Ruh, Ibn Falak, Ibn Eber, Ibn Salah, Ibn Arfaksheh, Ibn Shem. Okay?
Now, we can stop here at 4 and we ask the question, how did Ibn Kathir know that?
So yeah, where did Ibn Kathir get these names? Okay. Ibn Kathir, Stories of the Prophets, Volume 1. And this is from 1408 after Hijrah. Okay, well, so yeah, 1988. So this was fine.
That's a
So
book. Yeah. But if Muslim will ever ask question, they will figure out the answer for themselves. The problem is Muslim tell you you cannot understand the Quran unless you read the interpretation of Muslim scholars. Okay, and they read the interpretation of Muslim scholars and say, now look how beautiful the Quran is. But have you ever asked yourself, was Ibn Kathir a prophet? Did Allah prophesy to him through some angel Jibreel or gibberish or somebody else? Is that what happened? Or did Ibn Kathir went back to the Bible, the book which you believe is corrupted, and fill in some of the blank, some of the empty spaces in your story of the Quran so you can understand what the Quran says? If that's the case, it is another fraudulent work, but Muhammad takes some information and Ibn Kathir add a little bit more to it, and you can add even more. And you can make more sense out of the Quran if you just follow the steps of Muhammad and Ibn Kathir and other scholars. Are you follow me, Lloyd?
I mean, where does he get these names? Where, honestly, does he get these names? I mean, maybe some
These
Muslims
names,
give us.
I challenge a Muslim, find any of these names in the Quran. Just one name. Find any of the names after Abraham from that list in the Quran. Forget about the order. Just find me Falish. Find me Tahur. Find any name. Which name do you like to find in the Quran? And we can go right now and search. Pick up one of the names. What other names do you have there?
I mean, there's Ibn Shem. Isn't that for Syria? Shem, is that Egypt to Syria? Shams is not from Shams, right?
Yeah.
Al-Sham.
Sham is Levant.
Okay. Yeah, the answer is simple. They came from a book in the Bible called
when you
Genesis.
say Ibn Nahur, brother, I'm serious right now. Ibn Nahur, N-H-O-R. Search for Nahur in my Quran. In any Quran. You don't have to buy my Quran. Just search inward. How many times you find it?
Let's look. And we are searching. Please stand by. Okay, we're halfway.
It's going to be mentioned one time. That's what you clicked on in Ibn Kathir's writing. One time.
Didn't find it.
It has to be found one time in that text where you're in.
There's Nahas. Let's see. I'm looking for Hannah, Jonah, Mishnah.
No, brother. I'm talking about Nahur.
Yeah, but I'm looking for.
Some of the letters exist in many other words. It had nothing to do with names.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Nahor. I'm looking for the letters N-A-H.
It's my book. I wrote it. I know everything about it. Okay? So you got the idea? So how did you cannot interpret a verse in the Quran by come up with some information from other books and you tell me that's its interpretation. That's why I have always called it fabrication, not interpretation. Nahur is not in the Quran. Saruk is not on the Quran. Rayu is not on the Quran. Falak is not on the Quran. Eber is not on the Quran. Salih, that's a name now Muhammad used to make a prophet, but not the same Salih. And so on. So they come up with names to help the Muslims understand where Abraham came from. When in reality, you don't know jack about Abraham in the Quran. Not just where he come from. You know nothing about it. Let me ask you a question. What is the real name of Abraham? The name his mama and his father called him.
With Avram. And
it's called
Hebrew would be Avram, and then it became Avraham. So it's
exactly. So it is Abram. Can you find me Abram anywhere in the Quran?
No.
We're going to be talking about Jacob a little bit, and you find Jacob, and you find Israel. How in the world is the name Jacob changed to Israel in the Quran? You don't know. So here we go. Muhammad sometimes mentions the new name of the character we're talking about, like Abraham, used to be Abram, but you never know anything about to be named Abram. Another time you're going to see Israel and Jacob. Both names are in the Quran, but you Muslims do not know how in the world that guy name changed from Jacob to Israel. Because you ask Muslim, who's Israel? Oh, that's Jacob. How did his name change from Jacob to Israel? Well, Allah knows. Yeah, I know Allah knows. I know Allah knows everything.
That, I mean,
And if they, and Lloyd, listen to this, and if they go to the Bible and you read about the story of the blessing of Jacob when he wrestled with the angel of the Lord all night until morning, and when he blessed him and he called his name Israel, when you read the story from the Bible, Muslims laugh at it. Okay.
but they can't explain how the name changed.
No, you have no idea. Well, you tell me. Go ahead. Do your best.
Yeah, but the Islamic Allah is so weak, he cannot come to Earth. The Earth he supposedly made. He can't enter his own creation and set foot on the Earth.
God help us. All right.
And half of the names you mentioned are wrong, for they are not spelled correctly Arabic language. The perfect Arabic language and the perfect book has typos.
Yeah. The Jewish Quran, Al-Quran Al-Karim, did not put too many names, put two names right in the Quran.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do transliteration, but still you can make an effort. I mean, in English we can do it.
But brother, why you change the name John, Yohanna to Yahya? Why you change Yeshua, which is the name of Jesus, to Isa? It makes no sense. I mean, you're talking about Christians who are in Saudi Arabia. Christians all over the Arab world spoke the Arabic language, and not one of them said Yahya. They all said Yohanna. In Hebrew, Yohanan. Why Muhammad changed it to Yahya? Okay.
He had his reason, I'm guessing, he wanted to co-opt these characters and use them for himself.
Who knows?
Yeah, but although the Bible was corrupted, and in the original Bible that they don't have a copy of, those were the original names.
Now that is an empty, stupid argument. I'm tired of it. Here, Muslim talking about it all the time. Go ahead. It is sometimes difficult.
Yeah, and the genealogy of Abraham, along with more of his family's history, is given in Genesis 11:24-32. The name of Abraham is listed here as Abram, which the Lord later changed to his covenant name, Abraham. So the main verses are verses 24-27. Nahor lived 29 years and begot Terah. That will be the same as Azhar, of course, as we know in Islam, Azhar. After he begat Terah, Nahor lived 119 years and begot sons and daughters. Terah lived 70 years and begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. This is the genealogy of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran begot Lot.
How about this, what you just read? What you just read right now, it is an amazing passage to tell me the age and the time of the birth of the children, all the way from Nahor to Lot, the nephew of Abraham. And by the way, in the Quran, you will never know that Abraham and Lot are related. You think they're maybe cousins or friends or whatever. You will never know that it is his son-in-law. Unless I'm wrong. We're going to remember again. I wrote that book a long time ago. But I believe this, you don't see the connection between people.
Right. Someone was asking about Allah knows best. The term Allah knows best is actually in the Islamic Aqidah. Just like you have, let's say, the Nicene Creed. Welcome, Natalie Polikarpova. Just like you have the Nicene Creed, you have the Aqidah Islam, and one of those lines is Allah knows best. For when we don't have an answer, we say Allah knows best. That's a literal statement in the Islamic Creed.
Sure, absolutely. Because that's you get yourself out of trouble. Because, hey, I don't know. Only Allah knows best. And even when Muslim give you options, 8, 10 options interpretation, they always end with Allah knows best, because we don't know which one is the right one. Yeah.
Who was Abraham's mother? The Bible does not mention the name of his mother. Muslims claim that they know her name because it is written in Ibn Kathir's book. What year did this guy live? The 14th century? 1300s? 1200s?
It has to be 600 years after Muhammad. So 6 plus 6, yeah, roughly around 11, 1200 years after Christ. And it's amazing. Here's what I call great fabrication. We do not know who is Abraham Mama's name was, but somehow Ibn Kathir know it. Allah does not know it, by the way. Muhammad did not know, but Ibn Kathir know it.
Wow.
Is much greater, brighter, sharper, smarter than Allah and Jibreel or Gibrish and Muhammad. That is Ibn Kathir. That's how I know for sure he's a scholar. And when he talk about 6, it's not mentioned anywhere in the Bible. When you listen to him, you think he was there. He saw what happened. He actually have coffee with her mama, not just Abraham's mother, with her mama. And that when her mama was pregnant, she had coffee with Ibn Kathir, and that's when he was there. And then she had birth
on DVD, on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
And it's written in Ibn Kathir's book that Ishaq ibn Bashir al-Kahli said that the name of the mother of Abraham was Amela. Okay? I think we can just go back to all these biblical scholars and let them know.
Now we need to add information to the Bible, because now we learn about something very important. Who is Abraham's mother? We don't know anything about Abraham, but we know his mother's name.
I'm sure they can prove exactly how they got there.
Sure.
Amazingly, in the following sentence of Ibn Kathir's book, he says that Al-Qalbi said that her name was Bona.
Wait a minute. Make up your mind. Is her name is Amila or Bona? Oh, listen. Keep going.
Yeah, the daughter of Krabana ibn Karsi from the people of Arfakshes ibn Shem ibn Noah. True story. I mean, this is very,
See, but you're giving me the evidence, the 100% evidence that Ibn Kathir is a big fat liar. You cannot tell me his name is Usama and at the same time his name is Bijama. Usama and Bijama are two different things, two different names. So how did he know her name is Amila? Oh, because that's so and so said. How you know her name is Bana? Because so and so said something. And then another name. And then he ends with saying, and Allah knows best. No, you're a stupid liar, and I don't have time to waste to talk about you. And Muslims need to figure it out before it's too late.
Great. So who was Abraham's wife? The Quran does not mention the name of Abraham's wife. Muslims believe her name was Sarah. They got this name from the Bible in Genesis 12:5, in which the verse describes how Abraham took Sarai, his wife, along with his nephew Lot.
Notice the real name and the old name. I'm serious, the old name, real name, and the new name. By the way, Abraham is the father of one. Abraham is the father of many. That is the difference between the name. And God bless him, he gave many children. Not as Muslim, not only of Jacob and Ishmael. No. Much more than that. But anyway, keep going, bro.
Right. And they departed for the land of Canaan with all their possessions and servants. Later, as God did with Abraham in changing his name to Abraham, in Genesis 17:15, we read that God changed Sarai's name to Sarah. Then God said to Abraham, as for Sarai, your wife, you shall not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. Quran 4:54 mentions the family of Abraham. Well, they envy the people about what Allah has given them from his bounty. So indeed, we gave the family of Abraham the book and the wisdom, and we gave them a great kingdom. So some of them believed in him, and some prevent others from him, and sufficient is the blaze of hell. What the heck did I just read?
English Quran. That is the beauty of the Quran. If I have read that verse to you in the Arabic language, Allah, 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 beautiful. The poetry is beautiful. You put it in a stupid any other language. Now the same verse with Allah, 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 be what in the world have I just read? It is made up stuff. Listen to the verse. Or they envy. Who are they? The infidels. Envy who? Envy Abraham. Why? Muhammad is making a poetry. Literally 18 plus 6 It came like 2,400 years about Abraham. Nobody said it before. Nobody envy Abraham. Nobody care about Abraham. And it's on and on and on from the Quran itself, from the reading of the Quran. But somehow he made a poetry. Allah gave him his bounty. What bounty? Allah gave him family.
This doesn't make sense. Like I said, it's out of context with the surrounding verses. It just seems so okay.
That is the Quran. It doesn't matter. Lloyd, you know that. You read the Quran many times. It doesn't matter what passage reads from the Quran. It's the same thing. It's a dumb for dumber. I'm trying to learn something about Abraham. We're going to be reading for the next 3 broadcasts or so. And we're going to end by saying, and we did not know jack about Abraham. Nor Ishmael, nor Isaac, nor Jacob.
We've learned nothing so far. Yeah, I mean, Noah's Ark was fantastic. We learned literally nothing about the Ark. It had a door and it floated.
Yeah. If the Muslims are watching our program, are honest with themselves, get rid of the stupidity of prejudice for your religion, for your Allah, for your Abraham, for your Muhammad, for your Quran. Get rid of that. Let us study together in the next few weeks to learn about Abraham, to learn about Jacob, to learn about Ishmael, to learn about Lot, and you get what? Or Isaac, and you get nothing. Trust me, you will get nothing. And that is the rest of the story of your Quran. Or just listen to the reading of the Quran in Arabic. Even though you maybe, many of you do not know jack about the Arabic language, and Allah make you feel good. Ooh, feel good. And you stay as Muslim, and when you die, you find yourself in a place, it's called hell.
You know, but Usama, we are, you know, we're lucky we're not in the UK because we'd probably have the police knocking on our door, kicking our doors in and arresting us for what we're talking about here right now.
I know. MashaAllah.
So the family of Abraham was envied by the people. The Muslim scholars forget to tell us who these people were because Allah favored them. Yeah, how? I don't know. I don't care. In his interpretation, Ibn Kathir explained that the people were envious of Muhammad because he was a descendant of Abraham and had received the greatest prophecy.
Let's stop for a second here. Can any Muslim prove to us that Muhammad is a descendant of Abraham? Can any Muslim, let me make it simple. Let me make it much simpler. Can any Muslim prove to us that Muhammad is the son of Abdullah? I'm not asking you to tie Muhammad to Abraham. Just tell me who is his father. What is Muhammad's father's name? Because I know without any doubt, Abdullah died 3 years before Muhammad was born. The chance for Muhammad to be the son of Abdullah, not slim, it is impossible. Unless you are one of the naive Muslims who are not khajlan means ashamed of his Islam, who believe that a woman in Islam, according to the great word of Allah of the Quran, and according to its interpretation of so-called Muslim scholar, that a woman can be pregnant up to 5 years. If you believe that a woman can be pregnant for 5 years, and I know for sure, without any doubt, yes, Abdullah got Amna pregnant. 3 years after he died, 3 years later, she birthed Muhammad, and mashallah, it's a great prophet.
Yeah, but you know that in the Sharia, pregnancy can last up to 4 years.
Actually, some schools think 10 years. 10 years, brother.
Let's see. Hang on, let me just try and find this reference.
I just look for the word 5 years.
Actually, hold on. I've got to look for the word pregnancy, but it says. I'm sure it's 5 because within the Sunni jurisprudence.
Some say 2, some say 4, some say 5, and even other schools say 10 years. Some believe it could be up to 10 years.
Yeah, you know what? I'll find this a little bit later, but
you're almost there. You're almost there. And the last of the traveler, you're almost there.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go. The minimal duration of a pregnancy from which a live child is born is 6 months. But yeah, pregnancy is only 6 months, so it's not like they were diddling, having fun before the wedding. And the maximum is 4 years, at least in the reliance in the Umdat al-Salik. Pregnancy can last 4 years, at least in the Shafi school of jurisprudence.
Okay, keep going. A little bit more, you're going to find the up to 10 years. Actually, I can get it to you from Al-Qurtubi if you want to get it directly. Forget about
Yeah, but within this Sharia manual, this is the range here. So
this is the
clearly,
one.
this is not exactly what we call scientific.
Are you trying to tell me Al-Qurtubi is not smart enough to figure this out? Way before these idiots who write English in that book?
No, I mean, this is obviously written specifically to somehow explain Muhammad's late birth.
Okay.
Because the man that said was his father could not have been his father.
Can you open my Quran, please, online? Now, look for the word. Let's look for the word 4 years. I need to get the verse. 4 years.
4?
Yeah, look for the word 4 years. Okay.
Oh, there we go. Same. You got the same reference there.
No. But go read the verse below it.
Allah knows what every female bears and how much.
Okay, what chapter is this? What chapter is this? 8 what?
Oh, let's go find it. This is chapter 13, the thunder.
Chapter 13 and verse 8.
And verse 8, Allah knows what every female bears and how much their womb lessens and enlarges. And with him, everything is by measure.
Listen to this. I'm reading to you the Al-Qurtubi interpretation. اختلف العلماء في أكثر الحمل. Scholars disagree concerning the longest time for pregnancy. فروي ابن جرير عن جميلة بنت سعد عن عائشة قالت يكون الحمل أكثر من سنتين. The lady by the name the man by the name Ibn Jarir said, I'm going to give you the first name, I don't have to give you the list of all these names. يكون أكثر من سنتين. It could be more than 2 years. Listen to this, we call here الشافعي, the school of thought الشافعي 4 سنين, 4 years. Malik, that's another school, 5 years, 5 سنين. ولو زاد على 10 أعوام, and it can be increased up to 10 years. عن الزهري, as الزهري said 6 و7, 6 years or 7 years. الشافعي 4 سنين, الكوفي 2 years, and so on and on. I mean, that's true. I mean, you talk about true. I'm reading from Al-Qurtubi, my friend.
And you thought Islamic science was only about the number 19.
Oh, number 19, it's a miracle in Islam. It's a miracle in the Quran. Wow. Yeah. So it's not just 4 years, up to 10 years. I can only imagine if a mama is pregnant for 10 years, the boy will be coming out not walking, running, baby. That'll be Olympic star.
Well, the reason they did not believe in him was because he was an Arab and not of the children of Israel. Okay, that's a big claim. Also called Jacob. I believe this is a strange interpretation because the Quran teaches that the propheted in the book of wisdom are given only to the children of Israel, not to any Arab.
Oh, that's what the Quran says. Exactly. Read the 2 verses coming up, man.
Yeah, Quran 29:27, and we granted him Isaac and Jacob, and we assigned the prophethood in the book to his descendants, and we gave him his wage in this world, and surely in the hereafter he is among the good.
Notice here Allah speaking in the past tense. And we assigned the prophethood and the book to his descendants. It's over. Read the next verse. 45:16.
And indeed, we gave the book and the wisdom and the prophethood to the children of Israel. Okay, that's pretty clear. And we provided them with the good things, and we favored them above the worlds.
So how can Israel, Jacob, is supposed to be the guy who receives the book and the wisdom and the prophethood, at the same time Muhammad, that Arab guy, received the same thing? Gave is past tense, assigned is past tense. It is done, it's over, it's sealed, it's over. Muhammad have no part of it. He could not.
Right.
That is, if Muslim can even tie him to his father, for heaven's sake. Do you know that Muhammad could be a Chinese son from his mama Amna and some Chinese guy? I mean, think about it. He could be some guy from. He could be a Jew, a real Jew, if his mother have sexual relationship with a Jewish guy, not an Arab at all. You know what I'm saying? What is the if you do not know your father? Period. How can you tell me you are a French or you're British or you're Spanish or you're Italian? What if your father from even another country, completely different than those names we mentioned? So we have a problem. If Muslim cannot tie Muhammad to his father, how in the world they can tie him to Abraham? And another important fact, the sad thing, which I know for sure without any doubt is wrong, Muslims tie Muhammad to Abraham through Ishmael, which make Muhammad Ishmaelite, not an Arab. Because once again, Genesis chapter 25, the first 5 verses, we know for sure without any doubt, especially on the 6th verse, that the descendant of Keturah lived in the Saudi Arabian land, which is it's called in the Bible the country of the East, the land of the East, where Job used to live, the Arab Job, according to the Bible. But somehow they tie Abraham to Muhammad through the wrong son Ishmael, even though they do not know who is the father of their prophet Muhammad. Go ahead, bro.
Well, yeah, an example of the verses that mention Abraham in a short story with no details is Quran 2:58. Have you not seen him who disputed with Abraham about his Lord, that Allah had given him the kingdom? When Abraham said, My Lord is he who gives life and causes death. He said, I give life and cause death. Abraham said, So surely Allah brings the sun from the east, so bring it from the west. So the infidel was confounded, and Allah will not guide the unjust people. Okay.
What a made-up story. What a
I
stupid
saw
argument.
there was a song
You know what?
once.
You know what? You know what? If I am that king, which I don't believe there's any king ever argue with Abraham, I will tell Abraham, I bring the sun every morning from the east and I set it on the west. Can your Allah bring it the other way? I mean, I can end that argument on the spot. Abraham saying, Allah bring the sun from the east and set it on the west every day. I will tell him, no, you're wrong. That's how I do it. Can you make Allah bring the sun from the north and make it set in the south, or from the south and set in the north, or from the west and set it in the east? Can you Allah do it?
I know a guy who did that successfully though, but in lyrical form. He basically asked the question, or he stated, all the people on the left, wop bam boogie, and then everyone else said, all the people on the right, boogaloo, and that worked.
That's a new thought I never heard of, but it's good. I'm learning.
But that's so yeah, but the Quran, it just doesn't tell the same. It doesn't rhyme the same way.
Yeah. So now,
know?
let's ask you a question here. Who is this guy that was Abraham was according to the Quran now, not scholar interpretation. A scholar interpretation is always great fabrication because I can give you right now 10 different stories to tell you who that guy is. From that
was the
step,
King of Babel. I mean, that was my first guess. This literally was my first guess. The King of Babel. I could sense it.
Well, actually, it was the king of Russia. Russia at the time when Gog and Magog was living there, they have another king, the short guy, the fat short guy, the big muscles guy with a big beard. Remember him? That was the one.
If it's
Because
Russia, then it's the King of Baba Yaga.
well,
It's
yeah, exactly. It's true. You just mentioned his name, right? I'm sorry, I could not remember his name, but now I remember it.
So this could have been John Wick.
Who's
The Baba Yaga. Oh my God. This is starting to get, oh man, the Quran is just
he gets
predicting
serious.
things. It's
So can you
predicting.
imagine that, Brother Lloyd? Let's get serious for a minute here. Can you imagine that? The more you read about Abraham by the writing of Ibn Kathir, the more you get in a deeper questions, and there is no answer. Okay, so now you tell me about the king who argued with Abraham. Really? What a
And
stupid
his name
argument.
was Nimrod.
Yeah.
Right?
How did Ibn Kathir know his name is Nimrod?
He has special knowledge somehow.
Yeah, I know.
So you said Nimrod, Ibn Canaan, Ibn Cush, Ibn Shem. But Canaan is like Syria area. Cush is south below Egypt, and
Brother, they're
Shem is
mixed all together. The names means nothing. These people do not know jack about any name in the writings.
this is
I
just
can literally
random.
put a guy from Europe, from Norway, next to a guy from Spain, next to a guy from France and Dutch, and add to it America, and add Canada and Alaska and Australia. All of them together in one verse. Somehow they were all related to one family. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, we know that he was then arguing with the king of Babel called Nimrod. At this point, we have to say that the student is no better than his teacher. Muhammad copied the stories of the Bible with no details, with hardly any mention of names, and his scholars tried to make sense of his writings by making up a cocktail of names. Because of Muslims' simple minds, or the fact that they are ignorant of the biblical account or even their Quran, when they read Ibn Kathir's interpretation of these verses, they may think it is enlightening. This is especially true when they hear all the names Ibn Kathir used to interpret verses like this one. Perhaps they think this adds credibility.
Yeah,
Maybe they do.
he's a scholar, man. He knows all these names. I mean, Muhammad did not mention two names in the Quran, but Ibn Kathir know all the names of all the people. Ooh, he
Yeah,
must be a great scholar.
but it's
Yeah, go
true.
ahead.
They don't mention names. They go, one of them said to the others, he said to them. They
No,
were
no,
the
but
ones who were
sometimes,
jealous.
whoa, Lloyd. Sometimes they give you detail. The one in the middle told the others. So now I know the one who was standing on the right side of the mountain. You see, now you know which one because when you add it to the location,
Yeah, but
it make a difference.
maybe they were living in the witness protection program and they couldn't be specific.
You don't want to be known. Then they're gonna lose the protection, and the government have to reset them somewhere else. Man, that's too much. Yeah, I concur. I concur.
Yeah, so they mix the names and the lineages that do not belong together.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
Yes.
well, was Abraham a contemporary of Nimrod? I need to find an answer to that now.
Actually, they're
Uh,
far away. They're very far away from each other. Yeah, no, I know for sure they're not close even. As a matter of fact, I think I wrote about it. If you can read a little bit more, we'll find out in a minute. Go ahead, keep reading. Unless you want to search it to examine my writings, that's okay, man. You keep insulting me. I insulted Hatun Tosh last week. She was not very happy. But now you insulted me, and I'm gonna be smiling.
Give me a second.
Hey, maybe I wrote it below it.
So no, the answer is no. I mean, the answer is obviously no. There's no way that they were in the same location, same time. That is just
Mm.
crazy. So where did Ibn Kathir come up with these names? Like Ibn Kathir has knowledge that somehow nobody else can find. I mean, why isn't he laughed out of the room? That this whole idea should just be
You know that
laughed.
Ibn Kathir gave us more information than that which is given by Al-Tabari and Al-Qurtubi because he just came 400 years later. You think by the time you get to Ibn Kathir, you have less knowledge. No, you have more knowledge. Hmm.
Yeah, he wrote that the name of the king was Nimrod, the son of Canaan, son of Cush, son of Shem, son of Ham, son of Jam, son of peanut butter. When we read when we read the Bible in Genesis 10, we discover Nimrod was the descendant of Ham. Ham, okay, I should have said that. Not the descendant of Shem or eggs. Actually, Ham, the opposite of Ham is eggs. So
Yeah.
even
And bacon.
right. Genesis 10, 6 to 10 says, the sons of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush were Sheba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Sabtecha. And the sons of Ramah were the Sheba and Dedan. Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. So we're having a little bit of an anachronistic problem here again. People in the wrong time, the wrong place.
Wrong genealogy.
That too. I mean, this is laughable. This is laughably at odds with all previous records and unprovable.
Yeah.
So this took place before the building of the Tower of Babel. Another important point is that Nimrod was the third generation after Ham, and there are 10 generations between Abraham and Nimrod.
See now
That
here?
can cause a slight problem.
So now I fixed your problem. You tried to search for it. 10 generations apart. But somehow he argued with him. And it was raining in that day. I remember, because when it was raining and Abraham got a little bit wet, and then he got a towel and he dried his face and he dried his beard. His beard was wet. And that's exactly, I know it's true. It's a true story. It's there.
You know, I spoke with someone once who had experience of communism, and he was saying that under the communists, they would make up stupid stories like this that were obviously stupid, obviously wrong. If you just knew anything basic, you'd know it was false. But he says this was a test for those that to see if everyone was loyal to the ideology, because anyone who spoke out would prove then that they weren't loyal, they weren't willing to accept. So therefore, maybe it's false for a reason, because you need to prove that you will believe what you're told without questioning.
Yeah. But I'm seriously, I mean, if you think about the simple knowledge which I can come up with, Usama Dakdok, I'm not a scholar, I'm not a great theologian, I'm just a simple guy who does a simple search. Why Muslims continue to follow Ibn Kathir and so-called other Muslim scholars? If they can dig their own information and find their own knowledge, they discover that they're liars. Their scholars are liars who try to defend and sugarcoat the prophet, who is a liar, to follow a book which is full of error. And that is all Islam is all about. I mean, you don't need any more than that. You know what, Lloyd? If people will be sincere again in this last hour, we only talk for an hour. If people are sincere, this should be a big shake, earthquake in the foundation of their belief in the Quran, in Abraham and Ibn Kathir. Now, if you continue to listen with sincere heart, not wearing the black glasses. Where's my black glasses here? Remember I told you about these glasses here? These glasses are special. I actually use them to look at the sun when you have eclipse. If Muslim will get rid of these glasses, when they read the Quran, and just use normal, even if you have a problem with reading, just use your eyes. You don't need glasses, okay? Just read the Quran. Read scholars' interpretation. Ibn Kathir, whatever you choose, and you figure out how in the world this has come to be here. Oh, somebody is fabricating information. And you do just simple search. You will say to Jibril, to Gibrish, to Muhammad, to Allah, and to the scholars of Islam. And you go back to the Bible. But you do whatever you want. Stay with Islam, man. Don't leave. Stay with Islam, ladies. Don't leave. You're going to end in hell. All right.
Wow.
Cush, the father of Namrud.
Yeah, Leveria 86 says, I heard the sons of Ham were poached, scrambled, and fried.
Yeah.
It's true.
There was
no
connection
from the lifetime of Abraham and Nimrod. And Cush, the father of Nimrod, had nothing to do with Shem, the ancestor of Abraham. Cush was not the son of Shem. Cush was the son of Ham. Ham was his uncle. Oh my God, what a mess. As for the rest of Muhammad's story in Quran 2, it is fabricated. Abraham did not dispute with anyone concerning his Lord who gives life or causes death, or concerning the rising of the sun from the east or the west. The interpretation of the story is in Ibn Kathir's book. He wrote that the king was able to give life and cause death when the king brought two people, but give life and cause death. This is like God's power. This is Jesus' power. This is
but it's coming up. It's coming up. Read as well.
When the king brought two people who were supposed to be put to death before. Is this Luke 27? When the king brought two people who were supposed to be put to death before him, he commanded one of them to be put to death and the other to live.
See, he can give life and he can cause death. You know, if I am Abraham now, I'll be smarter. I said, no, can you raise the dead? You see, God can raise the dead. Anybody can kill somebody and keep somebody alive, but it is so weak argument. If you really have Abraham arguing with some king, and Abraham said, I can give life and cause it. So my Lord can raise from the dead. Can you raise from the dead? Okay, the guy you just killed right now, can you bring him back to life? You cut his head off. Can you glue his head back to his to his head and his head to his body and bring him back to life? Can you do that? But see, sun set in the west and rise in the east. What I can do is a better argument. Oh, can you, Allah, bring the sun from somewhere else? From the north, from the south, from the west? And that is what makes me believe in Allah. But the king was stupid and Abraham was dumber. Okay, keep
That
going.
was a miracle. The guy, he had two people in front of him, and he could decide if the guy lived or died, and that's a miracle.
Yeah, it must be a miracle. MashaAllah. Can't wait.
Yeah. So that's just crazy. When Abraham spoke concerning the rising of the sun from the east and asked his king if he could raise it from the west, the king was astonished, for he could not do such a thing.
Wow.
Yeah. Ibn
If
Kathir
the king
continued by
have
saying that,
any logic, if that king is just have a high school diploma of the Dakdok school, my school, I would have tell him, go tell Abraham, let the sun rise from somewhere else.
right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Ibn Kathir continued by saying that people came to this king to receive food. The dispute
Yes.
took place.
No, whoa, whoa, whoa. That what you're about to read right now just remind me what I wrote years ago of the stupidity of the level of understanding among Muslims. Go ahead.
Yes, so this was the king who gave food. Everyone knows that that guy's name is Ronald McDonald.
He must be serving coffee with the meals too,
The
or
dispute took
orange juice. If you don't like coffee, he can give you orange juice. Go ahead.
so, but this looks like they had an unhappy meal here.
Yeah.
So the dispute took place between Abraham and the king. When Abraham went to him to receive food, and the king did not give Abraham any food. Abraham filled two bags with dirt, so he would not return to his family with empty bags. Yeah, the
I
family's
know
getting
how
appreciated.
stupid that is. I want to go home with empty bags, so I fill them with dirt so I can carry them on my shoulder or put them on my camel. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, that's you. I mean, your
That's
family
logic.
would appreciate the gesture. It's like you tell your family, you know what? I thought of bringing you some food, and the family says, no, the dirt's fine. It's the thought that counts.
No, but see the miracle of Allah now. Look what Allah is going to do now.
So he
How
arrived at his home and he slept, but his wife Sarah opened the bags while he was asleep and found them filled with good food. She cooked food from the bags. When Abraham woke up, he asked, where did you get this food to cook? She answered, from the bags you brought. Then Abraham knew it was from Allah.
Now stop for a second. How in the world did Ibn Kasir come up with the story, and how did he knows her name was Sarah
Abraham gave him a call because Abraham was talking to people from different times.
all the time? Yeah, yeah, it must be. Yeah.
Yeah, Zayd ibn Islam. I mean, it's
Now
surprising it's not Zayd ibn
let me be
Omi.
silly, brother Lord. Let me be silly while I'm here. While I'm here, let me be silly and ask the Muslim another question: how Sarah related to Abraham? How did Sarah relate to Abraham? Was she was his cousin, third cousin? She was the neighbor's daughter. I
It
mean,
was a
how did
servant, I
Sarah,
believe, a slave, a servant, right? From Egypt,
was
wasn't she?
was yeah was Abraham working for Sarah's daddy and mommy, or how did he meet with her? Go ahead.
Man, now you're asking me, but he was in Egypt, so that was from Egypt, correct?
No, Sarah is. Are you serious?
No, one
Sarah,
thing am I thinking of
Sarah,
Moses
Sarah was Abraham's sister from the same father, different mother.
or
That's how
something?
they related. That's how they related. Um, but what I'm gonna say is he have another wife, of course. Well, not a wife. She's a concubine. That's Hagar from Egypt. And then he married Keturah.
I was confusing Hagar. Sorry, yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah,
I know where you're going, lost on your head. Too many names, too many stories.
yeah, you're right. So Zayd ibn Islam said that Allah sent a king to King Nimrod, commanding him to believe in Allah. But King Nimrod, where are they getting this nonsense?
Brother, it is how you become a scholar. More
This
information you put, the more credible you become. Now people will even,
this
you know what?
is
If I'm Ibn Kassir, brother, if I'm Ibn
I
Kassir, I'll
am
be a billionaire.
why aren't we reading how Abraham was chatting to Buddha and then Buddha said, you know what, I'm good, thanks. And then afterwards, Allah sent a messenger to Buddha and said, Buddha, you need to believe in Allah. And then Buddha actually said, you know, if you can make the sun rise in the west, I'll do that. And then it happened, and Buddha became a Muslim. I'm surprised
Amen.
that's not the next
But
chapter.
but but let me give you the 5 cents worth of words here. If it was not for Ibn Kassir to make up all these stories and add it to the verses of the Quran, you would never have Ibn Kathir as a scholar, and you will never understood the Quran. Because so far, all these stories we're reading, all these names we're reading, all this information so far you read in the last few pages is not in the Quran, is not in the Hadith. Muhammad did not say it, and Allah did not say it. It is Ibn Kathir who picked it up from many other sources, other books. If it's not the Bible, some books written by the Jewish people. End of story. Besides that, you can have the verses of the Quran we can read in half hour and end of the story, and you'll learn nothing about Abraham. But why are we learning so much information about Abraham? Because the fabrication which added by so-called Muslim scholars. I hope my Muslim friend can get that. You read about Abraham. I can read, you and I can read this 55 verses about Abraham in less than 20 minutes, and we will gain nothing, zero zip about it. I can ask after we read the 55 verse 550 question, and the answer is we don't know, we don't know, we don't know, we don't know. How do we know? We read Ibn Kathir. How did Ibn Kathir know this information? He read the Bible and he read other books and mixed fairy tales with whatever written in the Bible, mocking the Bible sometimes, and put it in his interpretation, which is simply pure fabrication, and welcome to Islam. Now we understand Islam.
This kills my brain to read this. It hurts my brain to read this. It's like, you're like, this is fiction. It's on the face of it, it is fiction. But I'm hoping the internet will kill Islam.
Yeah. Well, it is the option we have for the next few years until they remove people like you and I from the internet, and that'll be the end of it. That's why I always encourage people, you know what, you like a show you watch, you like a video you watch, you like some information, save it on your computer, because it's not going to be there for a long time. It's not going to, maybe if you will be in our position, you'll be arrested someday, locked up for good someplace, or maybe got killed by some good Muslim, those who love Allah and Muhammad, and they would defend him by his own blood, by their own blood. There are Muslims who are willing to die to kill people like me and you, Lloyd.
Scary stuff. That is so scary. Man, this is just crazy stuff. I mean, this, you know what, the saying that if they can get you to believe absurdities, they can get you to commit atrocities is so
it's
true.
Exactly fact. It's a fact. That is the one true statement we have. That is the only true statement we heard so far today. We've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes. That is the only true statement.
I mean, it is shocking just how empty these claims are, how unprovable these claims are.
Sure.
It's crazy. I mean, so King Nimrod said, no, I'm good, thank you. And then he called him the second time and he refused again. He called him the third time and he refused. And so the king said, gather your group and I'll gather my group. So he gathered his military at the time of the sunrise. Oh my. Allah sent these flies.
See, what Muhammad or his scholar are doing here, they're creating stories, greater fairy tale. And the story is believed by Muslims, and just God help us, man. I feel sick for the Muslims. I really feel sorry for them. Go ahead, man. Tell me about the fly, man.
Wow. There were so many flies that no one was able to see the sun. The flies ate flesh and blood and left them as bones in the valley. One of these flies entered the king's nostrils and stayed inside his nostrils for 400 years.
Imagine having in your nose a fly inside your head, and you get your help, and you go crazy, man. That one fly inside your nose for wait a minute, how in the world the guy lived 400 years in Abraham days? You have to understand, before Abraham, people lived long. We talked about that in the first portion of our study when we talked about creation. Life was different then than today, okay? But in Abraham days, people did not live to be 240 years. To live 400 years was a fly inside your nose.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Allah tormented him with this fly. He used to beat his head all these years until Allah destroyed him with the fly. Oh, and you say here that this character was probably patterned after Pharaoh. It's obviously not Nimrod. It's the wrong time and place. I mean, was Nimrod in Arabia?
God help me for a Muslim who believe. You know, when Muslims tell me, listen to this, Lloyd, you're not qualified to speak about Islam. We got our own scholars. Ibn Kathir. I said, you really like Ibn Kathir? How about the 400 years fly inside Namrud's nose? They have no idea what I'm talking about. I mean, if you believe Ibn Kathir, you can believe anybody. Now, if you don't believe me and you believe Ibn Kathir, that make you nobody. That make you woo-hoo. Now, if you believe me because you found out Ibn Kathir lost his mind with all the lies and fabrication he's writing in his books, then you are not right now in the logic straight road, you know, to guidance. Hopefully, you leave Islam and become a Christian. But anyway,
Yeah, and
yeah,
Harry's right here. You can't underestimate their stupidity, and they're often insane, and that's probably true.
but you forgot to give me your comment, man. It's a true story, man. Come on, say it. I'd like to hear it from you.
True
400
story.
It's yeah,
Yeah,
it's true story.
no. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, he couldn't just blow his nose, right?
That fly is so big, man. That fly was like 5 feet 5 feet square inside his nose. So he could
You
not blow
know,
it.
when I
If you
was
blow it,
no,
if you blow it so
when
hard,
I was
if
a
you
kid,
blow it so
when I was
hard,
a kid,
you
we used
blow
to
his
tell
brain
off-colored
with it.
jokes. When I was a kid, we used to tell off-colored jokes, right? And we'd have, you know, and we used to say things like, "So, why do black people have big noses?" You know, and the answer was, "We have big fingers."
Yeah, sure, because
So,
the more you dig in for gold, the bigger your nose get.
so you know, that was yeah, but man, this is just okay. Fine, the fly, the fly. Yeah, I can see that. So the movie The Fly is just it's actually based on the Quran. I can see it now. Yeah,
Let's get the
it's a
Bible
pack
now.
of flies. This story is a pack of flies. And the true story, according to the account in Genesis, follows. We encourage the reader to read the entire account, but here's a summary. There was severe famine in the land. Abram went to Egypt. Sarah, Abram's wife, was very beautiful. For this reason, Abram was afraid that he might be killed, so Pharaoh could take Sarah for himself. Abram asked Sarah to lie and say she was his sister. The princes of Pharaoh spoke very highly of her to Pharaoh, and Sarah was taken to Pharaoh's house. Abram received cattle, herds, and slaves. But the Lord struck the house of Pharaoh with plagues because of Sarah. Then Pharaoh called Abram and asked him, "What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister? I might have taken her as my wife. Now, therefore, here is your wife. Take her and go your way." Pharaoh told his men to let Abraham, his wife, and his possessions leave in peace. As I mentioned before, there are many places in the Quran where just the name of Abraham is mentioned in one verse with no additional information, and there's a whole bunch of them here. And as you
Everywhere.
read these verses, you will discover there's no story of Abraham or any mention about his life. But that's the same with Noah, and that's the same with
Every name in the Quran, brother. That book is 400 pages. Okay, 400 pages. If I will take the repeated story out, that would be 120 pages. If I take what is taken out of the Bible out, it will be roughly around 40 pages. If I take the story written from other books out, there will be 25 pages. Nothing but the small booklet which I have to teach Muslims that they should kill the men and rape the women, have good sex, and when they get to heaven, the paradise of Muhammad, they'll have unlimited time of sex, 100 time a nights, all night long, all day long, sex, 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 sex. And besides orgasm and sex, there's nothing left for the Muslim to do in the garden except eating and drinking. I mean, there's nothing in the Quran. It's an empty book. We can debate Muslims on that book, and we can make shish kebab out of any Muslim. But the problem is, there's not Muslim with logic to debate.
yeah. Yeah, the following verses give a short portion about the life of Abraham as described by Mo. Quran 9, 114 states, "And the seeking of forgiveness of Abraham for his father was not but in keeping of a promise which he had promised to him." Yeah, I'd promised him a promise, so I promised him. So when it was shown to him that he was an enemy to Allah, he declared himself innocent of him. Surely Abraham was very meek. Wow, what a story.
Yep, Abraham promises that, oh, daddy, I will seek forgiveness for you. And he tried with Allah, and Allah said, no, thank you. He's not a believer in me. It's like Abraham does not know his father does not believe in Allah. By the way, that's in the Quran. In the Bible, it's a completely different story. In the Bible, Abraham's father was never like what we read about the Quran, Abraham's father. Two different Abraham, two different fathers, the opposite of each other. But keep going.
I've got a story that's just as good as a story in the Quran that I feel inspired to tell. Basically, I went out one day and I decided to go walk up a mountain. Then it took a while and I got to the top. But when I got to the top, I realized I was hungry, so I turned around and I went back down.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن Lloyd messenger of Allah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good, that should be in the Quran, right? That's a very good story.
That story make more sense than what we just have read today.
Wow, are you saying I feel inspired already?
It is. It's true. It's true inspiration. You should write your own the something like the Quran, but another name.
There's
Okay?
something. In fact, that's too specific already. That can't be in the Quran. The same story is mentioned in Quran 60, verse 4. Indeed, there was a good example for you in Abraham and in those who were with him when they said to their people, "We are innocent from you and of what you
But
serve."
let's stop it for a minute. Let's stop it. Oh, go back again. Go back again now. Just concentrate. Go up one line. Go up one line. The previous verse. The previous. Go a little bit higher. Oh, no, stop here. Listen. Indeed, like for certain or for sure, there was a good example for you in Abraham and in those who were with him. Who are those who were with Abraham?
His retainers, like, he's a famous prophet.
Understand.
So he would have had a couple of guys, fans.
When they said to their people, who are their people?
It's like, my peeps. You guys are my peeps.
You got it. You got it. Now, you see what's happening in the Quran? If you read as fast as you're reading without stopping for a minute, you may think that the Quran makes sense. But that's how the Quran is written. When those people told the other people who were on the right side to the left side, and they came down and they went up, and that was the end of the story. You got it?
All the people on the right, wop, bam, boogie. All the people on the left, boogaloo. Let's go.
Good.
It's got rhythm.
And
It's got soul.
And listen to this. The first start was indeed, and the second part of the verse surely, and then we're going to end it with certainly. So indeed, surely, certainly about Abraham and his people and those who followed him, for those who did not believe in him, and there's no knowledge. Okay, where this took place? When that took place? Who are the people of Noah? Who are the other people who was in Noah? I mean, what is the story? Can you help me out, Lloyd?
This is anachronistic. It has the wrong geography. It's got the wrong timelines. It's got the wrong genealogies. I mean, okay, even if you don't like the Bible, consider it fiction, then you've still got to acknowledge there is archaeology within it. There is certain historically provable evidence within it. There are places, there are locations, and the Quran matches and it's garbage. There is nothing in it that can be proven in any way with historical records, any kind of records from any nations. It's just like, how do you believe a word of this? How did they prove any of this? Where did they get the evidence to substantiate this?
Yeah. Surely we are innocent. I'm sorry, man. I apologize for stopping you. But if you read the Quran that fast, I feel like I'm reading something important, when in reality it's an empty book. Go ahead. Surely what?
Incredible. Yeah, so we are innocent from you and of what you serve without Allah. So in other words, we got nothing to do with you, bro.
I know, but what are these people? Man. Yeah, what are these people who are serving beside Allah?
What are these people serving if not Allah? Say again.
What he said, they said to their people who do not know who are they, who do not know who the people. Surely we are innocent from you and what you serve. What is the gods these people used to worship beside Allah or without Allah?
The one that wasn't Allah. So you've got because you've got Allah.
See, now it makes sense. Now I understand what you're saying. Keep going.
I mean, so if it's not Allah, then it's like see, if it's not Allah, it's not important. So you don't need the details.
I appreciate you helped me out. I now understand what you're saying. Go ahead. We
became infidels in you, and the enmity and enduring hatred between us and you will appear forever until you believe in Allah alone. So in other words, there will be hatred, disrespect, dislike.
We're going to hate you until you become Muslims.
It's the religion of peace, Usama. You are getting this wrong. You're interpreting this wrong. This is the wrong interpretation, because in other interpretations of Islam, they actually teach love for the
brother. I'm Islamophobe, man. I apologize. I feel guilty now. Islamophobe. I feel so bad because I'm just Islamophobe. You can help me, please. except for the speech of Abraham. Wow, his exception.
As for the speech of Abraham to his father, I will ask forgiveness for you, and I do not have control of anything to you from Allah. I'll ask him nicely, but if he sends you to hell, well, then it happens. Yeah, our Lord, on you we depended, and to you we turn, and to you is the final return.
MashaAllah, must be true. Must be
Yeah,
true.
but returns must happen within 90 days, I think, or maybe 60 days, depends, and underwear can't be returned.
You have to read the small, listen, brother, you have to read the small writing in the bottom of the warranty, because it's all in the small tiny
That
writings.
writing is so small, I can't read it anymore. I need glasses for that stuff these days. But I do know for a fact, underwear can't be returned. Once you buy it, once you wear it, that's it. You own it.
Maybe if you wash it so good and iron it.
You iron your underwear. I mean, like this is a
Sure,
conversation.
sure. If you want to return it, you have to put it back in the box.
Can you tell I want to talk about anything but what's in this book? Because this nonsense is killing my brain. In Ibn Kathir's interpretation of these two verses, he explained that when Muhammad stood by the tomb of his mother, asking Allah if he could intercede on her behalf on the day of resurrection, Allah denied him because she was a polytheist. Okay. So then some of Muhammad's followers saw him crying and cried with him. When they asked him the reason, he told them why. Since Abraham was an excellent example to be followed and sought forgiveness for his father, they asked Momo why he could not seek forgiveness for his mother. Muhammad explained that Abraham had promised his father to seek forgiveness for his sin. Since Allah showed Abraham and Muhammad that Abraham's father and Muhammad's mother had died as infidels, intercession would not succeed. Well, too bad. Let's move on. Therefore, Muslim believers do not intercede or seek forgiveness for those who die as polytheists. But they will hate you because that's required.
They will kill you to send you to the eternity sooner than you should, anyway.
Yeah, that's great. So Ibn Kathir told the story of the birth of Abraham.
Notice now. No, before you start reading. Ibn Kathir. Make up stuff. Welcome to the interpretation of the great Muslim scholar Ibn Kathir. Go ahead. Read to me how Abraham was born, man. I need to know it.
He stated that this took place when Terah was 75 years old, which was the wrong
Wait
age.
Wait a minute. How did he know that there was a man by the name Terah, no matter what age it is? Okay. How did he know?
Because he found his passport.
Oh, he found and the birth date is written in the birth session in the passport.
Yeah, it was next to Muhammad's grave. He was busy digging, and he found a piece of paper that was sticking out. And he pulled it, and it turned out to be Abraham's father's passport from when he traveled from the one place to the other place where he was.
What is the name of his father in the Bible? Terah.
I think it's also Terah.
Terah. What is his name in the Quran?
Azhar.
How in the world Ibn Kathir is using the wrong name according to the Bible, not the right name according to the Quran?
Allah knows best.
Are you answering my question, or are you asking me a question? Brother, I'm asking a simple question. Ibn Kathir should be a Muslim scholar. He should know that Abraham is the son of Azar, not the son of Terah. Why in his interpretation, tell me about the Abraham, the son of Terah, not the Abraham, the son of Azar? Come on, man. It's an easy question. You don't answer it with another question. Hello? You don't know the answer. You lost. Go ahead. Keep reading. Try to find.
Abraham was 70 years old when he had his son.
To help Allah and Ibn Kathir so badly, man, that I see you struggling so bad. I feel sorry for you, but that's okay. It's part of life.
Terah was 75. Terah was 70. Okay, fine. No problem. Ibn Kathir used the name Terah for Abraham's father, which is the true biblical name. He did not use the false Quranic name of Azhar, as written in Quran 674. The confusion about the age occurred because Muslim scholars did not read the Bible carefully. I think that's a perfectly valid observation.
I could figure this out myself. Yeah, actually, I wrote it. Yeah, it must be true.
The Bible says Abraham was 75 years old when he left Haran. The rest of the interpretation on these pages is copied from the Bible and pasted into Kathir's book by writing "they said." The fact is, without what
That's a question. If I know it is Moses writing in the Bible, why did he not say he said and Moses said? And give me, if you're a scholar, here's what they taught me in seminary. When I wrote a paper, man, I have to use 12 sources of books, 4 sources of articles, 3 sources of internet. And when I quote any of this material, I have to say what chapter of what page of what author, the publisher name, the year of the publishing. Can you imagine that with me? Have you ever
That
done
is
any?
not a thing in most of these Islamic scholarly writings that I've read. They don't do footnotes. They don't do citations.
And they don't tell me who is doing they. It is he, it's not they. And I can tell you it's Moses, and I can take you to Genesis 16, and I can tell you what verse. I mean, literally, I can tell you where the story come from. But somehow all that was wiped out, and now it is his honorable, his great scholar, Ibn Kathir. They said, go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah, so they said. My dear readers, the fact is that without what is written in the Bible, neither Ibn Kathir nor any other Muslim scholar, nor Mo, nor any angel had any idea who Abraham or any other biblical characters were. Ibn Kathir stated that Abraham's wife was named Sarah. How did you know that was her name? The place of their travel, or how old they were? The information exists neither in the Quran nor Hadith. It is only in the Bible. The Quran states that, well, I mean, considering the nonsense in the Quran, they had to claim that the Bible, which disagreed with them, was corrupt, because they cannot at any point admit that the Quran is corrupt or in error. I mean, they have to. If you're going to take this absolute stand on the Quran, then you have to claim that everything else, every other source, is corrupt.
Yeah.
And the Quran states that Allah revealed to Abraham, as he revealed to Noah and the prophets, including Mo, they all had a similar way of receiving revelation. We can see this in Quran 4:163, which goes, surely we have revealed to you as we revealed to Noah and the prophets after him, and revealed to Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob and the tribes and Isa and Ayub and Yunus and Aaron and Solomon, and to David we gave the Zabur.
You know this cocktail of salad you just read right now? I know when my beloved wife makes salad, I look at my dish of salad before I eat and I see the Quran. You see lettuce between tomato, cucumber, and the top cucumber below, and then you see all this carrot and the olives, and mix all these vegetables and you come up with salad. I saw the word of Allah in the Quran is more organized, more sense than that of a dish of salad. But guess what? Whenever Muhammad mentions names, that's exactly what you get. And if Muslim would just give themselves 5 minutes, look at that verse. Look at verse 163. First of all, did Allah reveal to Muhammad as he revealed to Noah? What is the name of Noah's angel? Was his name is gibberish? Or God was speaking directly to Noah? Was God speaking directly to Moses, or Moses was did God speak directly? Even in the forget about the Bible. Listen, brother, forget about the Bible. In the Quran, when Allah spoke to Abraham, did he spoke to Abraham directly? Did Allah spoke to Moses directly? Or did Allah spoke to Moses and Abraham and Noah through some Gabriel? And look at the names. Look at the names.
He would send them a letter. That's how they got these books. He would send them a book.
Yeah. And we revealed to Abraham.
Moses had 50 books. Abraham had like 25 books.
We do not know how many
Israel has like 3 books. Of course, Muslims don't have those books right now, but for sure they had.
And they believe in Abraham Suhaf. Yeah. They believe in Abraham.
They believe in the Injil, but they don't have a copy of the Injil right now. But if you give them 10 minutes, they'll find it.
But they don't believe in that Injil. This one here is corrupted, but the real one they believe in. So let's think about it. The real one
is sure different. They just don't have a copy right now. They can't prove it. And there's no evidence from any surrounding culture. There's no textual references. There's nothing in history. Literally zero evidence that such a book ever existed.
Sure.
There is no mention of it. There's no quotation of it. There is literally no copies of it. There's not even a fragment or a scrapbook. But it really existed.
And where are the Jewish people who are bragging about their prophets and their people? I mean, how in the world they did not keep at least one copy?
Because remember when I said because they had small hands and they weren't able to hold onto the books. That's why they got small noses.
Yeah, books were heavy then, and it's too heavy. Yeah, yeah, and it's so
And
big.
Allah took the library card away because Momo didn't read. So Allah took all the library cards away. So then they
What the
didn't.
purpose? Yeah, yeah. Waste of time
So
and space. So
yeah, there's
Abraham, had Ishmael, and Isaac, and so okay, good. Jacob is so good, and then the tribes. What is the tribes? What is
the
the names? And after the tribe, we got Esau, and after Esau, you get Job. Job's supposed to be way before all these names, and then you get Eunice. That is Jonah. Jonah come after Job, after Esau, and then Aaron, the brother of Moses, and then Solomon, the son of David, who come after him. I mean,
no, that's
I'm so
because
excited
the
about it.
original Bible actually had that chronology. Because Jesus, and then was Job, and then Jonah, and then Aaron, and then Solomon, and then
Yeah.
David. David came. I think David was like what, 6 months ago?
No, actually, that was before COVID. What are you talking about? You're
Before
losing your
COVID.
mind.
Okay, so
That was
yeah,
like
true.
at
The world is
least
split between
almost
post-COVID and
4 years.
pre-COVID. That's
4 years
what was I
ago.
thinking? So yeah,
Close.
there you go. I mean, this is amazing history. This is I am so
Let
ready to say,
let me give you
John.
another test. Brother, I'm not joking. This is God's my witness. I wish I can go back and find my paper and I'll show it to you. One of the tests I have in the Old Testament survey when I was in seminary, and they give us an Old Testament survey. So what my professor will do is we give you a cocktail names. I mean, he put them like that, okay? And he asks you, listen carefully, Lloyd. Here's a question for the quiz. Put the following names in the right order with the dates. Good luck to give that to any scholar in Islam. Not Ibn Kathir, not Al-Tabari, not Allah, not Muhammad. I don't. If Muhammad would get the same test or Allah get the same test, they're gonna have a big F. That's failure. F. Okay. So how in the world I know Abraham? So I have to study the Bible. Abraham was 1800, 1850, roughly around that area before Christ. If I'm going to put after Abraham, who did say Moses? Moses was 1500 years before Christ. If I want to go to the next, oh, King David is 1,000 years before Christ. And then you go to Micah, Prophet Micah, 700 years before Christ. And you have to put B, and then you go to even Christianity. Imagine Old Testament survey test, names and dates. If you are not familiar with that book I have in my hand here, which is called the Holy Bible, if you're not familiar with that, you get F in the test. You give that test to any Muslim, I guarantee you double F. Because if they're going to give me the names in that order, first of all, what dates? Can you tell me from the Quran, when did Abraham live? When did Job live? When did Ishmael live? When did David live? I mean, how can you put a date on these names?
Well, the scholars, I checked with the scholars and they said it's Ajwa dates.
Yeah, must be.
And you
I'm
need at
telling you,
least 3 of those.
any student at New Orleans, these are kids right 19 to 23, 24 years old, who took Old Testament survey in undergrad, not even in the master side, in undergrad. You take an Old Testament survey, you will know how to put the Bible in the names of the Bible in the right order with the dates on it.
I mean, this is nothing short of, obviously, I mean, jokes aside, it's nothing short of incredibly stupid. I mean, there's plenty of archaeological evidence to verify the existence and the time periods of so many of these characters. And Islam literally just gets it all backwards, upside down, and wrong. It's incredible how ahistorical, factual it is, how it runs contrary to all established history, all established research, all established science, and it claims to be scientific. It's just, this is myth. This is nothing other than sheer myth making.
I mean, I wish, my dear Muslim who watching this program, don't get stupid. Don't get stubbornly stupid. Don't think of us in an evil way that we hate Allah, we hate Muhammad, we hate Islam. We love the truth. We hate lies. We love you. I mean, what I benefit out of this? What Lloyd benefit out of this except we love you, we want to seek you with the truth of the gospel, even when we talk about Abraham. It doesn't matter what story we talk about. We're in program number 7. We got another 70, 80 program to go. All of them are going to be the same way. It doesn't matter what name are we talking about. Today we'll talk about Abraham. Next week we're going to talk about Ishmael. The following week we're going to talk about Jacob, or we'll talk about Isaac, or we're talking about Lot. The same thing over and over and over again. It is literally exposing the falsehood of your holy Quran, the miracle of Islam, compared to the simple reading of Genesis account. One book in the Bible. All what they're talking about is going to go back to one book in the Bible. As a matter of fact, we're going to add to it later, Quran chapter 12, the story of Joseph. When we get to it, it is part of Genesis account. One book destroys the entire Quran.
Wow, crazy stuff. I mean, maybe we can end here tonight. I mean, I think we've covered this, and we come to Abraham and the search for Allah next time.
Yeah,
I mean, because this is actually interesting, and they state here that they reject Judaism and they accept the religion that Abraham followed before turning to Yahweh, which literally makes Abraham a moon worshiper. We can actually look at that from the Jewish sources.
Yeah. Well, even here, like all other scholars, they don't know what they're copying from. If it makes sense to them, they say, "Oh, it is true." If it does not make any sense, and it is true, they say it's a lie of the Jewish writings, even though they're copying everything from the Jewish writings, plus from the Bible, plus from historians. Some of them are counterfeit, and some of them are real.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so even in chronological order, the Quran makes no sense. Yeah, it's just lacks a great deal of sense. So yeah, I mean, I think it frustrates me to read this. It is so obviously a false narrative. I mean, it's got too many holes, too many issues, too many inconsistencies, anachronisms. It's problematic.
But we will do it, Lloyd, brother Lloyd. We will do it for the love of the Muslim, for the sake of Allah's one man or one woman. If I will know in the end of our study, which could be a couple years from now, I don't know when it's going to be. If I know in the end of our studies that one Muslim will come to know Christ as Lord and Savior as a result of the next couple years, whatever time we spend on the Quran like that, it will worth it 100%. I will do it again.
I think we're part of the movement called the avalanche of apostasy. You know, it's so nice to watch those videos. There's an avalanche of apostasy in Islam. It's like, awesome. How can I help?
Yeah.
You know.
By the way, brother Lloyd, just if you don't mind, and announce this on your channel. Soon we're going to be launching an Arabic broadcast. It is solid Arabic about the same study here. So if somebody is watching us here and they have a hard time to follow us with English program, the entire program, Revealing the Truth About Islam, it will be on an Arabic broadcast. Coming up, it's going to be me and brother Yusuf and another friend from Canada. So three of us are going to work together to expose the errors of the Quran, start from creation all the way. The same thing. My two books, instead of we do them in English, we're going to do them in Arabic. With even depth, we're going to go in depth in other material written by so-called Muslim scholars. So just to announce here, if you guys know anybody who does not understand English, have a hard time to follow us here, hey, we got a special place for you in Arabic. We'll be announced soon.
Great stuff. That's good to know. And guys, next Monday, I'll be on with Usama, and we're going to have a couple of other guests, and we're going to be talking about how do we do evangelization to hardcore Muslims who've been indoctrinated to dislike the Bible, to disbelieve the Bible. How do you have that conversation? And because I've got a guest who works in a hospital in St. Paul, Minneapolis, and he has to work with people from typically Somalia. And how do you then introduce them to the fact that they've been misinformed about the Bible, and how you introduce them to even just start accepting the Christian narrative over the false Muslim narrative, which is, I think, relevant to what we're discussing here. Sure. You've got to show them, well, this is the issue with your narrative, but also how about accepting this one? I mean, I've spoken about, hey, just how about you ask them, read the Gospel of Matthew, start there, just read it and tell me what you think. Just be open to it, or sit with me and we'll do a little discussion of it, a little Bible study. Just read it, try it, tell me what you think. Yeah, what do you think? Just on a basic level, just a quick answer. Well, what are your thoughts? I mean, what's the first thing you might do, Usama?
In my green booklet, we put this in actual 24 small pages. which is the straight way to eternal life. I believe Muslims need to know that the Bible is accurate. The Bible is the true word of God. So what I do is I normally take Muslims to the Bible and I share with them, to the Quran, sorry, and share with them what the Quran said about the Bible, which will be astonishing. We're going to be talking about that Monday, Lord's willing. So sure, here's what the Quran said about the Bible. And then we're going to talk about the Quran. That's part 2. Here's what Allah said in the Quran about different things, like we're talking about today, the errors of the Quran. So first, I use the Quran to lead the Muslim to believe that the Bible is the true word of God. It will never change. Second, I'll destroy the Quran by the Quran, and then forget about the Quran, put aside. We go to the Bible and shares the truth of the Bible as what the scripture have foretold in the Old Testament prophecy and the fulfillment in the New Testament pages, which is the message of Christianity, the gospel. Right. It's a simple, quick answer. We can talk about that for 3-4 hours in this, but we'll see what the Lord's going to do on Monday.
Yeah, I think what happened to Salwan Momika in Sweden has shocked people, and I think it just feels like it's an event that really is galvanizing people and it's making them really think and pay attention. And we need to understand that that is what they're going to do if they can to me, to Usama, to Adam Seeker, to everybody. That's what they want to do. And we need to take a stand now. We need to show that this is false, this is wrong. And yeah, we can't, I mean, his death must not be in vain. We need to pick up where he left off, because he had courage, he was right, he died for it, and we need to pick up his legacy.
Amen.
Okay.
God is good. Thank you so much, brother, for having me on today. Look forward to see you Monday and Tuesday and next week until the Lord take us home.
Yep. We'll be in touch. Maybe we'll do something again on Saturday. We'll be in touch. Take care, everyone, and hope you learned something. Hope that was entertaining, but also enlightening and didn't leave you with long-lasting brain damage. Till the next one. See you guys. Good night, Usama. God bless you.
Good night, brother. God bless you. Bye-bye.